Today, this last week, April 7, we are commemorating the Kwibuka 31st. 1994 was the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. When I heard the story of Emmanuel, I was in Kinshasa at that time, serving the government of Zaire at the time. And the situation that was unfolding in Rwanda, myself being a Tutsi from the Democratic Republic of Congo in the territory of Rutshuru, close to the border of Uganda and Rwanda. The hate speech, the discrimination, that was unfolding in the media. At the time, there was only newspapers, there were only radios, there were no social media. Those echoes were coming to us as Congolese Tutsi, at the time were Zairian Tutsi. They were hearing us, and they were victims from that time. But today, I'm happy to be here to share a background before coming to exactly what happened to Tutsi in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Zaire first, and then became Democratic Republic of Congo in 1997, after the first rebellion led by President Laurent Desire Kabila. Just give you historical background. Africa was a vast territory filled with empires, kingdoms, independent until 1885, when the colonial came and divided those people. They were similars, they were sharing the same traditions. People living together in harmony. 1985, they divided on the paper, not on the ground. People kept living together as they were living. The eastern part of Zaire at the time were disputed between two superpowers. The German taking the east part of Africa. You take Tanzania today, was Tanganyika at the time. You take Malawi, was Nyasaland at the time. You take Burundi, and you take Rwanda. All those were part of Germany. Belgium took over Congo. First, personal property for King Leopold II. 1908, before he passed away, 1908, he ceded the country to his kingdom and then became Belgian Congo. So the mutation on paper then and on ground happened in 1910. That's when we found myself, my grandfather, found himself being part of Zaire of Congo. Cut off, same families on the other side, in Rwanda. Who are we? Same tribe, same tradition, same language, under the kingdom of Rwanda. Living together with no issues, 1910 to 1920, the colonial change landscape. The German defeated with World War I, and then Rwanda and Burundi, both were kingdom, independent, organized kingdom, were ceded to Belgium. They get mandate to administer both kingdoms, which they did. The Belgian legacy at the time changed the landscape of the Congo today. We see and we hear with all the atrocity going on, like genocide, as you can tell. So what happened? First, the rulers came in, they divided people. One, the leaders at the time, chiefdom, with small chief, who were representing the king of each side. So let's go back in the Congo at the time, becoming a colony of Belgium. That part of where I come from, they were chief, reporting to the king of Rwanda. The Belgian 1920 said, stop from here now. You no longer report to your king in Rwanda. You need to make your own king, which in the tradition, you don't make a new king while the other one is still living. It's a danger. Belgium enforced that law, forcing our great parent. You need to choose who is going to rule over you. You no longer go to Rwanda to report to King Musinga Yuhi V, who was ruling from 19 1896 to that time, 1930. So they have to choose. So 1920, in my side of Congo, eastern part of Congo, they put in place new rulers, new chief. And then our parents had to obey to the new rulers. You can imagine what that means. New rulers means conflict started. So the big part of this from 1920, just go straight to 1956 to make easy everyone to understand. This is what the colonial Belgium did. The colonial Belgium did. Number one, for those who don't obey, either you need to go to exile or they force you to go to exile. Number one was the same king of Rwanda who refused to obey to the new rulers. He wanted his territory as it was divided. They asked him to resign. He didn't. They asked him to be baptized. He refused. They forced him to be deported, first within the Kingdom of Rwanda, in the current Kamembe, which is close to the border of Congo, Bukavu, the city of Bukavu. When they deported him, they found out he's still dangerous king. They have to move him out of the borders of the Kingdom of Rwanda, cross to the other side of Zaire, Congo, Belgium. 1931, that King Musinga Yuhide V was deported from the Kamembe, close to the border of Congo, to far away in Moba. It was called in colonial time Albertville. Moba, you are in Katanga today province. And that's where the king of Rwanda, deposed in 1931, died in 1945. Now, they are taking place. What they decided, they found that the eastern part of Congo is so fertile, like in Switzerland. They had to do farming. They said we can grow tea, coffee, but also find mines. Today we talk about minerals from Congo, right? It started in 1930. In 1930, they decided we need to have cheap labor. Where do you find cheap labor? Some Congolese did one that time. So in 1930, from 1929 to 1956, they deported, or they created an agency called Banyarwanda Immigration Mission in 1930. They went over in Rwanda. They took 150,000 Rwandan. We are in 1930. This act is what today is creating the eastern part of Congo being ungoverned, full of hate speech, full of all the violences you can understand through the social media and all the noise you can hear. Imagine 150,000 people. They moved them where? To the east part, where we are from. We who were there before they cut off the borders. Where again? They go where they create the mine in Katanga today, where you can see cobalt, tin, and everything. They brought them over there. There are movies you can see how they are trying to educate them, how they can accommodate the new style in a new house where they can send the kid to school, the kid never go to school. So that is the first root cause of what's unfolding in the eastern part of Congo. Those Rwandan were no longer Rwandan. They became part of Congo today. 1960, the independence happened. But again, Rwanda, something is going on. The Belgium were not happy with another king. The son of Musinga deposed in 1931, he asked independence. They had to depose him too. It may create a conflict. They decided, whatever they did, they assassinated him. He died in 1959. Because together with Lumumba in Congo, the Prince Rwagasore from Burundi, they decided to ask for independence. The Belgian, that was too much. They incited the Hutu. Hey, it's your time now. These Tutsi have been colonizing you for centuries. Please, take over. That's what you hear. The Hutu took over in 1960, 61, and then refugees started going across all everywhere. 1950-60. What's going on in the side of Congo, where I am? I was born 1963. My parents lived a really peaceful independence. On June 30th, 1960, Congo became independent, and then everyone joined. Everyone was allowed to vote and being elected. So those group of Banyarwanda, those came from Rwanda, those were established before colonization, participated in the vote, elected at all level until at national level. Government, assembly, parliament. They participated, and after that, the Belgian again, they came back from the same place. They decided, okay, you know, we need to, there are some people still doing the same thing that the king of Rwanda wanted to do. They deposed some of the rulers who were there. In Masisi, they made on October 29, 1965. This is what he's describing. This is Banyarwanda. They are Congolese. They participated in independence. But the provincial government is labeling them as Rwandan from outside. People get killed because of that. 65, President Mobutu. You all know Mobutu came in. Iron Man, he pushed everyone. We are Zairian, no more tribalism. That was the motto. No more tribalism. You no longer belong to your tribe. You belong to Zaire. We felt relieved. Until 1990. Ruling after 25 is too much, right? He started referring in his books. But there are two incidents, legal incidents. Constitutional-wise, they said, all the people can participate in the vote until 60. They voted. Then, Mobutu said in 1972, they all need to be clear. How about those 150,000 people brought to by Belgium to my country? We need to give them a full citizenship. The law said, the law 1972, Article 15, the people who came from Rwanda and Burundi until January 1st, 1950, are full citizens of Zaire. That was really something that never gave him a chance to survive. Those local tribes found out Mobutu became too much. It was betrayal. From 1972 to 1981, there were everything brewing within it. Say, you're allowing those people from Rwanda to be part of our history? No. 1981, another law enacted in June 1981. Mobutu revoked the law 1972. These people, you want to be a Zairian? Hey, you need to be back in 1885. What I mean? So all those 150,000 people who were there, their grandchildren have no right. 1981, now you understand Mobutu's power is going down, and the local leaders seized the occasion immediately. Local elections, the Tutsi were denied. How you define a Tutsi? How they look like. As social media, as the propagandist during the genocide against Rwanda, it's the face. But in Rwanda, they added an identity. In Zaire, there were no tribal identity. So it was neutral. But my last name is Safari Munyarugendo. For my fellow Congolese, Munyarugendo, sorry. No, you can't be Zairian. So from 1981, all those sounding names were banned to participate. That's how we end up by all those crises from 1981. No election. In 1991, there were national forum. All people should participate. They selected those one. Name, looking like, no. You are from born that place, no. That's how people get excluded completely. But what was the power of the politician? Because everything messed up by politicians. People are very good to live together, but politicians. Everyone wants to be in power. But to be in power, you need to reject the other one. So you can be the leader. So that's what happened in 1981. From 1994, when the genocide happened in Rwanda, the hate speech was the same level as it was in Rwanda. We are in Congo side. Now, if you geographically can get it, when you are in Kigali, capital city of Rwanda, the only radio that was really used and understood, my fellow Congolese from Kivu here can attest, it was radio from Rwanda, the Rwanda radio, in Kinyarwanda, which is spoken the other side in Zaire. And the same hate speech, and that's how people, politicians get involved in it in 1995, April 1995. The Parliament of Zaire enacted a law officially expelling, denying citizenship of those people called from Rwanda. That's how, on November 1st, I ran away from Kinshasa, crossed Congo River to Brazzaville. That's how I survived.
How did you didn't swim or you?
There was a boat. So we had to, first, there's a boat, I didn't swim, by the way, it's a swim boat. It's a swim boat from Kinshasa to Brazzaville, it's 15 miles. If you're a good swimmer, you can cross by swimming. But that we paid, we bribed security services, and they let us go, and you cross the border, that myself. How I survived. 1996. 1996, that's how many of you can remember. Laurent Désiré Kabila came and said the Banyamulenge rebellion took over in Kinshasa. That was us, exactly. But that did get a chance to go over the root causes of this issue. Today we are in 2025. What's going on in the eastern of Congo? The same as it was in 1994, 1995, 1996. The hate speech is all over. On public television, on social media, labeling people on how they look like, to be foreigners, to not be accepted as Congolese. When 1995, the law was enacted, myself and my elders, we wrote a memorandum of 11 pages to President Mobutu. We asked President Mobutu, this law is going to make part of your citizen stateless. Please do not sign in law this project of law. He did. We were given 14 days to leave the country. Wow. And that's how we fled Congo in 1996. From 1996, I was educated. I went back to Congo again. I remade my life, get married, had the children. But the trauma are still around. My wife reminded me all the time. When she saw me get involved in this, she always reminded me. Do you know that some night, I remember in 1992, in a village of Rutshuru, 1992, militias came up the hill, looting all the carros, killing people, fleeing from villages until fled to Goma. Those traumas still going on. For refugees, they fled at the time they gave 14 days, everyone had to leave everything. But at the time, the refugees who committed genocide in Rwanda were invaded the east of Congo. Our villages, our cows, everything. Either they kill you, they take everything from you, because they were the same who committed genocide. When they were coming up the villages, they look at it, oh, they are still here, these people. That was the language used. They are still here. We need to get rid of them. And that's what happened, and that's what's going on today. 1996 to today, refugees are still refugee camp. In Rwanda, in Uganda, in Burundi, in Kenya, and here in the United States. Some of the current situation there, it just has only two basic things. Most of these acts of genocide are going on in Congo. Walter, I appreciate the idea. Genocide, we need to rethink about what do we call act of genocide. Kwibuka 1994, today, genocide against the Tutsi. I'll ask you a question, how do you differentiate Jews and not Jews? when they look on paper, right? But us, as Tutsi, it's how we look like, the name. But sometimes can confuse.
Yeah.
In those confusion, we have some of the Tutsi working with the government of Congo today as a minister. Some in the army. But on broad light, they kill people, they burn people on the street in Goma and Bukavu, and they eat them alive. Have you seen, Mr. Walter, where they eat someone alive? No, it happened in Eastern Congo, today in 2024. But I will end up my speech by telling, if you hear today's story of Congo, they talk about minerals, invading people. Those people who are there today came to rescue Mr. Walter. The same way your mom was rescued in 1945. Today, those M23, you hear all the news over and over. They came for one thing, rescue those people are being eaten because how they look like. They want their refugees to go back in their home country, their ancestral land, in eastern part of Congo. That's nothing other than that. Have them secured and protected. On top, we have those root causes that can be really dismantled. To dismantle them, first, the government of Kinshasa need to speak loudly to the world. These people need to be protected. All the hate speeches, all the armed group that has been fueled with hate speech against those communities, minority group, they need to be really uprooted. But today the government of Congo has called those with armed group as patriots. This is where the problem lies. So, ending, we need two things. Ending impunity for hate speech and sanctions official promoting violence. That's number one. Number two, providing humanitarian assistance to all these displaced people. Number three, support all international investigation on crime committed in the eastern part of Congo. We support that. Number four, facilitate inclusive dialogue that can go rid of all those root causes. Number five, establish a security framework for minority group in the entire Congo. Coordinate a safe repatriation of those refugees who are today stateless. To bring them back, protect them, and to give them a way to protect them for a long-lasting security in the eastern part. And we want to dismantle all armed group full of hate speech. But mostly, we still have the FDLR, who participated in the genocide in Rwanda. They are still based in eastern of Congo. Those are among of the recommendation, and with that, we can have the eastern of Congo secured, and eastern Congo prosperous, as it was before the colonialists came in with all the hate speech. Thank you very much. If you have a question, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
We'll just take two questions, I believe, although what you said was packed with a lot of information. And so I'm going to probably not exercise my moderator's privilege, but turn it to the floor, because I also saw a lot of incredulousness. Some people were looking and saying, well, this is an explanation that actually belies the point that M23 also is now being accused of a lot of human rights violations. It's a case, perhaps, where those who have been persecuted are now doing the persecuting. So I'll turn it to the floor and open up for questions, and then I will reserve my questions.
Can I answer a question, if you want?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
I think in my recommendation, I was clear. To support international investigation of crime against humanity committed in the eastern part of Congo.
Yeah.
What do I mean? The armed group that in the eastern part of Congo, they've been there for last more than 35 years. 1990. My wife was displaced in 1992. Crime committed since then, they exist.
Yes.
Today, they talk about what M23 is committing. But the accuser, who is the accuser? It's the government of Congo, correct? Definitely. When accusers is also part of it, they should have crime. I can't really be there to be advocate 123. The crime can be committed. It's a war for these young refugees coming from refugee camp. No hope other than we die in our homeland. They can be also committing crime. But those crime, it's not the accuser. Because the accuser committed crime. I'll give you an example. In 2004, the Tutsi from South Kivu called the Banyamulenge, they were in refugee camp in Burundi. 166 people were massacred overnight. By who? Congolese militia worked with the Burundian. In 1998, then President Rwanda Kabila, on public television, with his Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yerodi Ndombasi, said, you need to get rid of all the Tutsi. They are vermin.
Wow.
So it's all those that were packed together. Today, we see. Now, social media has enabled more. We need peace, and that peace will come from strong justice. Today, in Congo, we don't have justice, and the President Tshisekedi himself said, my justice system is sick. So that's where I can answer.
No, I'm mindful that there was a study that was done by the United Nations Peacekeeping and others, DPKO, as well as UNDP, looking at 1997, I believe, to 2003. But I'm thinking of our good friend right at the front, because he's also thinking that there's a feeling that this is driven by tribalism and regionalism and other things, but usually those have been perpetrated by a larger and bigger force for reasons that are beyond just, it's about the minerals, right? It's about, and so I would have had you address that a little bit, and I think sometimes you're close to it, and the emotion of it is that you're really thinking that it's tribalism, but there's something larger and bigger. So I wanted to see if you could address that some.
Yes, they are bigger than that. Yeah, we know. Each region of the world has actors, local, regional, international. And they're part of Eastern Congo, the entire country
Speak
of Congo.
of the international actors a little bit.
Okay, very easy.
Yes.
Congo has been converted by the world powers.
Yes.
From Cold War and today. Same actors are doing the same today. But minerals are there. But you have other countries richer than Congo. We don't see the same crime committed down over there in those countries. Why it's committing in Congo? In 1992-95, were there superpower? It was by the tribalism. Now, they can use the local actors to fulfill some of the international agenda. But the entire country, the leadership of the country, can sustain and put people in peace. If today they can sanction hate speeches, and we can go and build a Congo stronger.
That would have to be the last word on that.
Thank you.
I want to open it up because this is going to be for interesting conversation. Yeah, I want to go, no. That's the last of that particular speech. But I want to get into the next speaker.
Can I ask a question?
No more time. No more time. Later.
No. Just in the interest of time.